Today is Monday. It is the 15th of January. It is a wee bit colder than it was the other day, and that's actually ironically a good thing without any great amount of wind. It's also MLK Day, which is why I have the day off, and I am following up on the events of Saturday, which were quiet, but we had the day, and I didn't really feel like hanging around the house all day, so here we are. So there's that. It's actually a good thing because on Saturday, the weather went up in temperature very quickly, and what was wet, heavy snow turned into a downward flow of very cold water, and the boots I had on at the time were rated as water resistant, although the marketers lied. They're not. And my feet got soaked, and had it been a little bit colder, it would have been much worse, but wet feet still suck, and I got bored with that kind of quick. So we're back today. Because it is colder without a lot of wind, it's actually better for tracking as well as just not getting your... If it was like that today in this wet, you'd have an ice fest out here, and hopefully we don't, but I guess we'll find out. Because it looks snowier than I left on Saturday, so they must have had some overnight snow between now and then. We're going to get going. We're going to see what we find. Today's kind of like a just get out of the house day kind of thing to do this, so maybe something will happen today based on that. Let's get going and see what we find, and come on along. So I've mentioned the pulsing sound before. There is a noise to the east of here. It's not the pulsing noise, but... It sounds like it's coming from the boat launch like a mile from here, but... No, it's over there. What you hear over here could be the wind. I don't know what that is. Game time. And as of right now, I'm not subscribing it to anything paranormal, but I was here 2 days ago and it was dead quiet, so I don't know what that is. And just to fill out, there is a trailhead that way about 2 miles, and I was literally just there, and there's no one there. Being that it's Monday and it's a weekday, there's no one there. Nor is there anyone at the boat launch. So as far as I know, I'm here alone. Except for the guy who's coyote hunting off in that direction somewhere. But he's off in the distance. There might be 2 of them, but if you have the right paperwork or it's not the poachers from a few years ago, they're coyote hunting. More likely than not, because deer season's over. So for the next few minutes, you're going to have minimal banter just because I want to see if I can get that again. I don't know what the hell that was. And like just this time last year, I was doing the same thing, but it's not a pulsing sound. That was almost like a... I'd have to hear it again. It sounded mechanical, though, this time. Although you could say the pulsing sounded too, but... Interesting, it's coming from the same general direction, though. Or did. So when I point over there, there's a meadow through there. I don't know if you can see through there, but there's a meadow through there. That's wind, I think. We'll just listen in for a little bit. if it won't sound off for a minute or two, I was going to say, I'm out today also because we may have snowy conditions on the weekend to curtail my getting out then. So it's also kind of like a compensating move. But maybe timing is fortuitous if that wants to sound off again, whatever the hell that was. For lack of a better term, it almost sounded like a mechanical moan, if that's a thing. But it definitely sounded mechanical. So I'm not as tuned in as the pulsing thing. You almost thought a UFO was going to fly overhead or something like that, but this sounds more mechanical. And when I say that, I mean more like earthly mechanical. But this time of year, I don't think you'd have logging going on, and there's literally nobody at the trailhead because their stuff would be parked over there, based on past experience. So, gonna trudge through and see what happens. And if that does want to play ball, it's good because I don't really have a lot of gossip today either. Seems actually like a lot of the people that are doing podcasts that are like ones I can fathom or I can tolerate this week are doing like reminiscent stuff. Culls is doing an old cop interview from Whitehall from years back I know of, but I mean that's going way back. That's like the Wayback Machine. Right there again. What is that? It's not the same sound as last year though, but it's coming from the same damn direction. Doesn't have the wave feeling the other one did though. And it still sounds mechanical. Like that. Like right in that direction. Definitely not the same sound as last year. Equally as weird though. I'm actually surprised there's this much snow either though, because with the amount of runoff we had on Saturday, I would have thought it would have mostly gone. Guess not. Needless to say, I'm going to drive back through there on the way out if I have to see if there's anything there. I didn't see anybody in the trailhead though. The wind's kicking up too. I was kind of hoping the wind would take a break because if it gets windy, it's going to get colder and shit today. It's not even it's barely like 22 right now. So it's a lot colder than it was on Saturday. But the other sucky thing too is that if I try to take measurements, the wind's going to fuck it up because wind makes for infrasound. If this is any kind of infrasonic weirdness, the pulsing thing definitely was infrasonic. The mysteries in the origin of it. So based on memory, which is fallible, comparing what I'm hearing today to what I heard on around the same time last year, the same exact area for that same direction, it's almost like it's got more of a bass to it today. It almost sounds like somebody's got a. It sounds weird, but it almost sounds like somebody's out there with out in the middle of nowhere with a subwoofer, having fun with them. Why you do that, I don't know, but. Different acoustics too. Last year was like a pulsing thing, like wah, 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 wah. This year it's like more of a long, bassy subwoofer sound, like a mechanical moan, but like a subwoofer sound almost. I don't really know how to describe it. That one sounded like there was an underlying sound, but there was almost like it was like an echo, which might be what I'm hearing. Last year, not so much. This might just be an echo, but it's a weird one. It's not gunshots because you heard them over the hill. You can easily tell the difference. So when I was talking on Saturday about the trees that kind of do a weird arcing thing as a navigational, this is what I'm talking about. Completely unrelated to the weird sound I'm hearing. I knew there was nobody at the yeah, that last one sounded like there were no cars driving through. There was nobody at the boat launch, like an ice fisherman. So it's definitely cold enough today to do some ice fishing if the thing's frozen over. But the last one was definitely like an echo effect, though. More definable than the one last year, though. Anyway, we'll keep an ear out for it, but it seems to be taking a break. Like I said, this one, unlike last year's, this one sounds mechanical and it almost sounds like an echo effect. Still weird, but not as weird as the last one. But I will make the observation. It seems like most of the weird shit I run into, though, it's on a weekday. Not on the weekend. It's like on a weekday when no one's here. Weirdness comes out when you only got one person to play with. Could well be. Normally I'd be doing some photography, but if this is going on now, I'm going to tune into this. I'm turning if they're looking for a less resistant way through. Okay, well, we're going to go back to our normal program at this point until we hear that again. It seems to have taken a break. So, yeah, it seems like the podcasters are doing almost like memory lane this week. You have Sean Forker reminiscing his show he used to do with Henry May. And Coles is doing a rehashing, I guess, I don't know what the right word would be, for it's an interview that a Whitehall cop did years ago when you had a lot of Bigfoot stuff going on around that area, like around 8 Air Road in that area, if you're familiar with that history. And having had one of my encounters up that way, there is something to it, in my opinion. Nope. What? Just dawned on me, I forgot my bear mace, but it's like 20 degrees out. There are no bears about today, probably. You might see a coyote or a coy wolf off in the distance, but I haven't seen the... I did actually see coy wolf tracks on Saturday, though. Tracking Bambi, so that is in line with this time of year. I'm going to take a brief segment break is what I'm going to do. I need my handheld thing that the camera's on for my audio recorder. And I'm going to switch gears for a bit and see if that weird little sound wants to repeat itself. I'm going to refer to it as a subwoofer sound. It's not what it is, but it's the best comparative sound I can compare it to. But we'll be back in a bit. I'm going to listen and I want to focus more on that. I'll be back. We're back. We got I wasn't yapping for once. I got the whole sound. It is subwoofer, like it's got like an echo effect at the end and like a bubbling almost sound. It's bizarre. But it is not the same thing from last year. And it still strikes me as something sounding mechanical. I'd be very curious what's doing that, though. I just gave up trying to do a live stream of this out here because the connection's not... You don't have a consistent connection. I'm wondering, though, if it's a natural effect, though, because with the bubbling, I'm almost wondering if it's like a cracking of the ice or something. Total conjecture, though. It's not doing it with a regularity that the infrasonic pulsing thing was doing last year either, though. Weird stuff here. When this area is active, it is downright bizarre. Got like a little Bermuda Triangle thing going on in here. And for those who equate me with Bigfoot, no, I don't think any of this is Bigfoot related. Without more evidence pointing in that direction. Right now I have none. So, I don't know how exciting this video is going to be, but this one's going to basically be me listening and trying to get a burst of that on the camera without me talking. So I ask that you bear with me. With the wind kicking up a little bit, it's getting cold though. A little bit too. Went from hat on to hat and hood on. Not that you care, but subtle track thing there, not Bigfoot. Not enough definition, and there's literally no other shape around there. And the consistency of the snow that we had on Saturday, you would have had more tracks if there's anything like that in the neighborhood. But that was a wood pop. That's something completely natural. So again, the navigational tree thing I'm talking about from a long different distance, that. Native Americans used to do that, believe it or not, as a navigational tool. That is a crow. And although I didn't get a shot of it like yesterday, completely unrelated to this situation, it was very cool to see a bald eagle fly through our local walking trail in central Connecticut, because although we do have them, they're usually closer to the river and some other spots where they're known for. This was a rare treat. But and those right there, unfortunately for those who want to have it be Bigfoot, they're probably me from Saturday. Just so you know. Bambi would agree. So we're on the camera for the phone now, because apparently the card on my other camera is full, so we're doing it here. We have some weird acoustics in the woods today that we're listening to. I'm going to keep this short so I can focus on that. That's going to be a little bit more of a different focus to this today. I'm also going to save the battery in case of any mishaps out here in the cold. Just good practice. Anyway, to wrap up so I can focus on the audio part of this today and I can switch over to my audio recorder. Like, subscribe, comment. I will give any more observations to what I'm hearing as best I can. We got more. It's infrequent. So I wasn't yapping for once. I got the whole sound. Thanks for listening, and we will catch you next time and post any follow-up. Subwoofer, like, it's got like an echo effect at the end and like a bubbling almost sound. It's bizarre. But it is not the same thing from last year. And it still strikes me as something sounding mechanical. I'd be very curious what's doing that, though. I just gave up trying to do a live stream of this out here because the connection's not. You don't have a consistent connection. I'm wondering though if it's a natural effect though, because with the bubbling, I'm almost wondering if it's like a cracking of the ice or something. Total conjecture though. It's not doing it with a regularity that the infrasonic pulsing thing was doing last year either, though. Weird stuff here. When this area is active, it is downright bizarre. Got like a little Bermuda Triangle thing going on in here. And for those who equate me with Bigfoot, no, I don't think any of this is Bigfoot related. Without more evidence pointing in that direction. Right now I have none. So... I don't know how exciting this video is going to be, but this one's going to basically be me listening and trying to get a burst of that on the camera without me talking. So I ask that you bear with me. With the wind kicking up a little bit, it's getting cold though. A little bit too. Went from hat on to hat and hood on. Not that you care, but subtle track thing there, not Bigfoot. Not enough definition, and there's literally no other shape around there. And the consistency of the snow that we had on Saturday, you would have had more tracks if there's anything like that in the neighborhood. But that was a wood pop. That's something completely natural. So again, the navigational tree thing I'm talking about from a long different distance, that. Native Americans used to do that, believe it or not, as a navigational tool. That is a crow. And although I didn't get a shot of it like yesterday, completely unrelated to this situation, it was very cool to see a bald eagle fly through our local walking trail in central Connecticut, because although we do have them, they're usually closer to the river and some other spots where they're known for. This was a rare treat. But and those right there, unfortunately for those who want to have it be Bigfoot, they're probably me from Saturday. Just so you know. Bambi would agree.